Well, it is Sunday afternoon and time now for our weekly visit with Roch Kabatko, the School of Roch. Check him out several times a day at MASNsports.com. Roch not with us in the studio because he joins us now from Tropicana Field. And Roch, what about Brian Roberts? He's snapping out of it now. He's got multi-hit games in 2 of the last 3. And I was stunned yesterday when somebody asked Buck Showalter, did he consider moving him out of that leadoff spot? I mean, he's having a tough month, but my goodness, he's the leadoff man, isn't he?
He is, and I'll confess, I asked him because I was the voice of the fans. Brian was 3 for 43 before getting the 2 hits yesterday. He's still only batting .216, but I checked. He weighs 175 pounds, so you can't say he's not even hitting his weight. He's actually hitting above that. But there are a lot of fans saying that Buck needs to move him out of the leadoff spot. So I asked the question, even though I knew what the answer was going to be. Brian is the leadoff hitter. Buck said he's willing to go ahead and maybe make some other changes, move some guys up and down, but he goes, Brian will not be one of them. He's the leadoff guy. He doesn't feel like he has anybody else who really fits that description. We figured J.J. Hardy would probably be the backup leadoff hitter. Felix Piet's got speed, but he doesn't play every day, and he doesn't steal bases, so he's not your prototypical leadoff guy. That's Brian's job. No matter what he's hitting, when Brian's in the lineup, he's batting first, and they're just going to wait for him to heat up, and like you said, maybe he's starting to do that right now.
Well, the good aspect of it, he's putting the ball in play. You can't guide the ball. All you can do is put a good swing, and at least he's doing that. Now, speaking of good swings, yesterday, Mark Reynolds hit a home run, his first since May the 1st, and what was encouraging to me is that he went with the pitch, and he hit it out to right center field. Now, can one at-bat snap a guy out of the doldrums?
You would hope so, but unfortunately he struck out and hit into a double play after that, so I don't think the slump's over yet. You know, he was 10 for 77 before that home run, and I'm sure you're aware of what's going on in New York with Roch Posada, the big controversy yesterday. He was insulted that he was batting ninth despite hitting 165, pulled himself out of the lineup. Now there's a question whether it was his back or if that's just an excuse. I give Mark Reynolds credit. He's been at the bottom of that lineup, and it's got to be tough for him. He's had to swallow a lot of pride. He's supposed to be a middle-of-the-order hitter. He's been batting ninth. Now he's moved up to 8th today, but that's nowhere near the middle of the order. And I wanted to read a quote from Mark after the game when he was approached by reporters concerning Buck Showalter. He said, Buck has really shown some confidence in me by keep throwing me out there, and I want to reward him and go out there and play the game that I know I'm capable of. That doesn't sound like a guy who's insulted because he's batting 8th or 9th in the order, so I credit him for that. And it's a pretty big deal where he's hitting because he's batted 5th in 226 career games. He's batted 4th in 157. He's only hit 9th in 16 of them and 8th in 9 of them. So it's unusual for him to have to be dropped that far in the order, yet he's not complaining about it. I give him credit. I'm not comparing his career to Roch Posada. I get it. Posada's a borderline Hall of Famer. You can get arguments both sides. No one's talking about Mark Reynolds that way, but it's still a credit to him that he's not complaining. He's being the good soldier. He knows he's struggling, and that he's just happy to be in the lineup. But Masson, let that be a warning to you. If you guys had made me wait until the last segment today, I was going to walk because I would have been insulted. So thank you for moving me up in the order here.
Well, Roch, I don't think you're selfish like Roch Posada was yesterday. He hurt his team, and you got to give Mark Reynolds credit because he's putting the team first and not what's going on in him. Plus, it's hard to argue the lack of success he's had, so hopefully he's about to break out of it. Now, let's get an injury update, and I'm curious of your twist on this. Is it a coincidence that Chris Tillman and Brad Bergeson have pitched their best starts of the season when Brian Mattis and Dustin Juxer are trying to get back, and Mattis, in fact, is going to head out for rehab tomorrow?
Right, and don't forget Alfredo Simon as well. I mean, these guys have their backs against the wall, whether they're going to admit that or not. I don't think it's much of a coincidence. They really have to dial it up. And right now, Brian's supposed to pitch tomorrow night in Frederick. They've got him going at 55 to 60 pitches. Now, that could be 4 innings. That could be 5 innings. Hopefully, it's not 2 or 3. Pitch count will dictate that. Then he'll pitch again Saturday, and he'll be extended to 75 to 80 pitches. But we don't know whether that's Norfolk or Bowie. Weather may play a factor in that. We're not sure. As Mark Connor said, sometimes you see better hitting in Double-A than you see in Triple-A. Meanwhile, Duxer's going to throw a 3-inning simulated game on Wednesday in Sarasota that he'll be extended to 4 innings in his following outing. And he's still eligible to come off the DL on the 30th, and the Orioles think that he could be ready for that. They're just trying to stretch him out. And one other guy we haven't talked about, backup catcher Craig Tatum, who's in Norfolk, remains on the 7-day disabled list. He was eligible to come off yesterday, but he still felt some discomfort in his right shoulder. He did some long tossing, a progression, 60 feet, 90 feet. When he got to 120, he still felt it a little bit. So they're going to keep him on the DL. It may be another 4 or 5 days before he's activated, and that's worth noting because he's a guy the Orioles are keeping an eye on in case they do want to bring up what we would call a true backup catcher.
All right, Roch, well, good stuff. Have a safe trip home, and how about next week we lead off with Roch Kabatko? How about that?
That'll work for me, thanks. But I'm not a selfish guy. Wherever you guys want to use me, I'm here for you.
All right, that's Roch Kabatko. Check him out at MASNsports.com each and every day, several times a day with the School of Roch.